Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at how to mix your drums in the style of Pierre Bourne. I'm going to be showing you guys some mixing techniques along with a few other tips that are going to help give your drums a much better sound overall and really improve your mix at the end of the day. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this video here. Alright guys, so here we are in a session of FL Studio 12. This is actually a beat that I was already working on and I'm pretty much done with. I just need to arrange it and mix it. So I'm going to go ahead and preview the beat and then we're going to take a look at the drums and really what we're going to do to make the drums stand out and hit a lot harder. So obviously in that classic like Pierre Bourne kind of vibe, I'm gonna go ahead and mute the melody just so we can focus only on the drums. Because this video is about drums, the first thing that I am gonna say is that your source material really is the most important part. If you want your mix to really stand out, you need to have good samples from the beginning, particularly good drum samples. So make sure that whatever you're working with from the beginning is like high quality and actually usable. All the drum sounds that I'm using in this beat are in my personal drum kit, and if you need any of these sounds, I'll make sure to pin them in the comment section down below. Now, I was reached out to by a company called Baby Audio, and they actually sent me a copy of their plugin called iHeartNY. So thank you to Baby Audio for sponsoring this video. I actually am going to show off their plugin later on this video. But with that being said, I already went ahead and muted the melody. So let's go ahead and focus on the drums and what we have so far. The first thing that we're going to check off this list here is to make sure that the Fruity Soft Clipper is enabled, which it is, as you can see here. So before we even go further in this video, that's really the first step, but I really wouldn't even call it a step. It's more of like a default thing that I always do in any mix. So the next thing that we're going to focus on really is going to be the kick, the hi-hat, and the clap. So I'm going to mute the 808 and the other perks just so we can focus on these three for now. What I'm going to show you is actually a really interesting technique that I don't see too often, and I think that more people should work on incorporating this into your mixing process. What we're going to do is actually route the kick, the clap, and the hi-hat to insert 6, and this is basically going to let us create a drum bus. And what that means is we're basically going to have the signal from all three of these tracks going into one track, so we can apply effects onto this one track, and it's going to take effect on all three of the other tracks that we have routed to it. What you're going to want to do is select the track that you want to have as the bus. I'm going to highlight the kick, go on to track 6, go down here, right click this little arrow, and then select route to this track only. So now I have my kick routed to track 6 here. And now we're going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to select the clap over here on track 4, go back to track 6, right click the arrow, route to this track only, and then same thing for the hi-hats, go to track 6, and then right click the arrow, route to this track only. So now track 6 should be getting signal from our hi-hat, our clap, and our kick. Now the reason why I did this is so that I can open up a plugin on channel 6 and it's going to take effect on all three of these tracks rather than me having to open that same plugin and then duplicate it onto tracks 3, 4, and 5. So what I'm going to do here is on track 6, I'm going to open up the plugin from Baby Audio that I mentioned earlier, which is called iHeartNY. Once I open up the plugin, it's going to look like this, and it's basically a parallel compressor. So you have two channels. One channel is going to be like your clean raw output, and the other channel is going to be a super compressed channel. And you're basically going to balance those two channels to get an overall thicker, harder hitting drum sound. So right now, without any kind of signal coming through, if I go ahead and click play here, there's no change in the drums yet, but if we start increasing this fader here, it's bringing in that super compressed signal and blending it in with our non-compressed signal. Now, if we increase the spank knob here, this is going to spank the signal a bit and really apply that compression. And you guys will start to see how this takes shape once we, adjust the parallel signal knob here. This is basically making compression super easy by saying, hey, let's have one signal which is not compressed at all. Let's duplicate that and compress it a lot and then slowly blend that into the non-compressed signal. So I'm going to tweak these knobs here and just get it right where I want it. And here they are without the plugin. So as you can see, very quickly it added a nice boost in loudness, and just overall a lot more kind of punchiness and energy to the drums. Super useful plugin for this use, and if you guys want to check it out, I'll have it linked in the description below. But let's go ahead and keep working on this mix. I really want to get the drums hitting nice and hard. And this is one thing that I've started doing a lot recently since I first found out about this plugin, and it's going to really improve the way that your 808 sounds, and it's actually stock in FL Studio, which is great. So you're going to want to go into the plugin finder, you're going to go to Distortion, and you're going to find Fruity Wave Shaper, and it should open up something like this. This is really going to add just a little bit of distortion to the 808, but it's not going to be too over the top like you would expect. Right now it's on the default setting, and typically what I do is I'll play the 808 and I'll grab this little notch and pull it upwards. It'll start introducing some really nice distortion right in like the lower to mid region of the 808, rather than adding like those high-end harmonics that you typically hear with like distortion plugins. And as you can see, the higher that you go, the more of that distortion is going to be applied. But in this case, I'm looking for something that's a little more tasteful. And that just adds a really nice boost to like the lower mid regions of the frequency range. So that's one important step that I typically do when I'm mixing my drums and my 808s and stuff like that. Another thing I'm going to do is actually on the hi-hats over here. You want to open up the Fruity Stereo Shaper here, and we're going to apply almost like a chorusy width effect to the hi-hats, and this just kind of adds to like that sloppy kind of like experimental feel that you hear a lot in Pierre Bourne's beats. Obviously it's like very dramatic right off the bat, so I'm going to decrease the delay knob here. It just adds some nice space to the mix, adds a little more brightness. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do for this mix here is go to the master channel. Usually when I'm doing like a quick mix, I'm producing a lot of beats a day, so I'm not really focused on getting like that perfect mix right off the bat. So my focus is just getting a loud mix with hard hitting drums. And I just want to apply that last bit of loudness that I need to really take this mix to its fullest potential and not have it be too quiet in like the car or in the studio. So I'm going to use this parallel compressor on the master channel. So it's going to be applied onto the melody, the drums, the perks, everything. And because of that, I definitely do not want to overdo it or, you know, run the settings too hard. We just want to be very tasteful and apply it very lightly. That way we're just adding that loudness, but we're not really changing the dynamics too much. Right about there. I'm going to unsolo it. So I'm pretty happy with these settings, and if you listen closely, especially around where the 808 hits, the peaks in this mix are a lot more balanced out. So there's not as many kind of drops in audio from when the 808 hits or when the clap hits. Everything is a little more consistent, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in this case. I really just want to balance things out, even at those peaks. So right now the plugin is off. And if we turn it on, and that is pretty much the mixing process for drums that I use on like a Pierre Bourne type beat for this case. If you guys want to check out this plugin by Baby Audio, it's called I Heart New York, and I'll have it linked in the description. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for me today. If you need any of the drum sounds that you heard, I'll have them linked in my drum kit, which will be in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for me today. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.